This is about the witch child of Hemlock Creek. This was released just this past June of this year. He's received excellent reviews on this book. The book covers the paranormal case he investigated with his group EVP, which stands for Evansville Vanderburg Paranormal. This group is a group he founded back in 2008, and his investigations have been involved with cases in states like Indiana, Kentucky, and Tennessee. Rick also writes fiction books based on true events, which I think is just awesome. Forever Ash is the first book in a series of paranormal investigation novels coming very soon. He is working on a second book as well, and we will discuss that a little later in the show. Rick, good evening. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, I can hear you fine. Good evening. How are you this evening?
I'm wonderful. Welcome to the show. It's an honor to have you on this evening. We have some people in the chat, and later on in the show, if you do want to call in, we will have time, and the number to call is 1-607-441-6233. If anyone wants to ask Rick a question a little later in the show. But, Rick, I wanted to ask you first off, how did you get into this profession?
There were numerous things, really, that kind of pushed me in the direction. I didn't have, one major life-changing event that brought this on, like so many people do. But really, it was a number of things that all occurred within a few years of my life when I was in my early 20s. One of them actually started, I had I guess you would call it an out-of-body experience, actually. And I was working at kind of in a rural setting at a factory, and on the outside of the building, doing some construction work. And I was actually stung in the ear by a hornet. I was up on a ladder and stung in the ear by a hornet, of all things. And I had an anaphylactic reaction to it. Yeah, so my coworker said, I came down off the ladder and said, I'm going to take a break for a minute. And he said, that's better. I'm going to take you to the doctor. So apparently somewhere between when we left the factory and got to where the hospital actually was, I apparently stopped breathing for a while.
Wow.
But the interesting thing to me was that after it was all over with and we were getting ready to leave the ER, he said, man, I think we lost you there for a minute. And I said, I was in that better shape. It was when we got here, I got out of the truck and got on the gurney and let him push me in the, into the ER. And he said, no, there were 4 nurses that picked you up and put you on that gurney. And I thought, at the time it didn't really click. It wasn't until later on I was thinking back on it that, I really remembered getting up out of the truck and sitting down on this gurney. And apparently that was the point when I was touch and go. So I didn't really think about an out-of-body experience until much later, when I started looking into the paranormal. But really, when one of the big things was shortly after my son was born. He was just a little over a year old, and my next oldest brother, we were really close. He was 36 at the time. Was sitting on his couch in his living room and I had a massive stroke, and it was actually on my birthday, and he died a couple days later.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's okay. This was back in 2001. So it's been a while. So I've dealt with it, and I'm coming to terms with it. But the combination of my son being born and then my brother dying, and actually had several friends and relatives that died right around that same time. And, I just kind of got me questioning and searching for, what else is there, what's after this life, because I just wanted some kind of reassurance that if something were to happen to me or my son, that, that we'd see each other again.
Wow, I've heard of stories like that before with people, and when there's death, when something dies or someone they're close to passes away, there's something that replaces it, like the birth of a child. It's almost like the circle of life in some ways. it happened to me when I lost my grandmother. My grandmother passed away in '04, and a few months later, I was pregnant with my second child. I was like, wow, one goes and one comes, You kind of wonder, do they meet in passing, the spirits? Do they meet in passing and say, hey, I'm going on this next journey of my life? And, you kind of wonder about the intangible and the afterlife and how life kind of plays this event for each of us. It's very interesting. Rick, this book I hear is absolutely fascinating. I have put on my Christmas list that I would like an Amazon card for Christmas because I have several books I need to purchase. And that's what I want for Christmas. If any of my relatives are listening, you can get Linda an Amazon card. Tell us a little bit about this book, and this is very interesting. This Forever Ash book, and the witch of Helmach. Is it Helmach? Let's see.
It's actually pronounced Helmich.
Helmich. Okay.
No, it looks Helmach.
Okay, I pronounced it wrong. I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay.
German flair into it.
You got my name right. If you can do that, you're an incredible person.
I'm ahead of the game. Okay.
It's actually it was a fascinating case, and I do write fictionalized books based on actual events, and some people mistake that for being more fictional than truth. But really, like in this book, the biggest parts of it that are fictionalized are locations and names. And there are a few little puzzle pieces that I fictionalized because I didn't want to leave an empty hole in the middle of the book or something because, I just didn't have all the answers, at least nothing concrete. So I kind of put in what my feelings and thoughts were to make the story in the book, more complete and more satisfying to the reader. It was a fascinating case. It started out with a local request from a respectable person in the community, and from there it really escalated. And at the time we were a very young team. We'd started in 2008, and this happened in late 2009, early 2010.
Oh wow!
And we really weren't that experienced to handle something like the experiences that we had in this case.
Oh wow!
Initially it was when we found out about it. The one of those was this woman and her sister. Their father passed away, and when I guess the will was read and everything, they inherited a piece of property that they didn't really know existed, and that's where the spirit resided. And so the sister actually went to the property to just check it out, and it was in another state, so she had to travel to go do this, and to get the deed transferred over, some legalities and things, and she brought back the spirit with her, and it really escalated from there. We actually ended up traveling over to this location on two different occasions to investigate, and then also to try to help with the spirit to not to rest, but to try to help it move on where it needed to be.
Let it cross over and have some peace, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Now, without giving too many juicy details about the book, because I just posted the name of it in the chat, so people know where they can, what they're looking for and where they can get it. Who is the witch child, without you giving too much detail?
Well, the witch child, actually, I don't believe it was a witch at all, but I think it was a young girl, according to what we've researched. The young girl was about 9 years old or so. She had a kind of a tragic start in life, losing her mother, and was raised by her father. From what we can tell, they kind of were outcast a little bit, or became that way. just shortly after the Civil War, so the late 1800s. She was actually burned as a witch, which is kind of unheard of, but I guess people still do tragic, disgusting things these days. But
and what part of the world did this take place?
Well, it took place just a couple of states over from Indiana.
Okay.
I don't want to get too many details as far as the actual locations. I don't have permission to give names and actual locations.
Sure.
When I wrote this book, I fictionalized it. But it actually took place, in the eastern part of the country.
I'm kind of shocked that there would still be burnings in the 1800s. I could see that for the 16th, 17th century.
Early 17th, yeah. The early 1700s was about being like the Salem witch trials and things like that. But as well as I do, there are still some radical people in the world, even to this day. One with the ISIS beheadings and things. People still, they still have a bit of a whole world mindset. Some people do, where they don't understand humanity.
That is very true. I have a friend who is of Arab descent, and he's actually Lebanese, and he was telling me if I had come to his country and told people I was an astrologer, I would be stoned or probably beheaded or killed and considered a sorcerer.
Exactly.
And I'm going, are you kidding me?
No.
Yeah, and that's in this day and age. I could only imagine the intensity back in the 1800s, with people and thinking bad things and false information.
Right. Back in the during the Salem witch trials, I mean, anybody that was too smart, especially a woman that was too smart, was considered to be a witch. If they knew too much or were too educated, if they had blonde hair and blue eyes, they were considered to be a witch or a sorceress because it was just unusual. And,
really? I didn't know that. Interesting.
Yeah. And, that's part of the point when I wrote this book. I mean, I wanted to tell the girl's story, but the real message behind the book is acceptance and being non-judgmental. Just because someone's different doesn't make them, a bad person, or, you have to accept people for who they are and what they believe.
Absolutely. You have to go into it with diversity and an open mind, and we're all human and we're all unique.
Exactly. And to think that because someone is different that there's something wrong with them is exactly the opposite of reality. It's when people are not different that there's something wrong.
Exactly. They're the sheep. Yep.
Yes.
I worked in the schools for many years, and there was a lot of kids some kids were like the ones that kind of played by themselves and didn't have too many friends. It was those children that had real gifts. I would almost say they had psychic abilities. I would see something in them because they weren't the run-of-the-mill. They didn't run with the crowd. They kind of danced to their own tune.
I know what you're saying. Yes.
It's a beautiful quality, and if people would put their petty differences aside and realize that being unique and different is actually a good thing and a beautiful thing, and they have gifts to offer the world, we'd really be in a better place, the entire world,
Without a doubt. Yes, without a doubt.
Absolutely. Now, I didn't go through your whole bio because I wanted to talk a little bit, but I hear that you have, let's see, let me look at my notes here. You are a union representative for hundreds of union workers, and also you have this position as a human relations commissioner for the Vanderbilt County, Indiana. That's incredible.
Oh, thank you. I don't know if it's incredible or not, but
Well, I'm a union worker. I'm employed by a union, so, people always say, hey, unions, they get free this and they do that, and it's like, that's not true. I pay my taxes, and, my retirement comes out of my paycheck. No one else is paying for it. I've earned that.
Exactly. And one of the things that I always try to explain to people, and so many people just don't get it, everybody, and I shouldn't say everybody, that's a generalization, But so many people think of a union worker as, they're so overpaid for what they do. And they don't realize that it's not that way. The realistic view of it is that most people who are not unionized are underpaid. There's nothing wrong with having a livable salary and having health benefits and retirement plan. So you don't have to work till you're 70 years old to scrape by on Social Security.
Absolutely.
And you don't have to be an entrepreneur, in order to make a living. So I just think, and I'm not trying to get on a soapbox here, but I think that the union is misunderstood. And, in the beginnings, the union had a bad reputation, but
they do.
It was.
They do have I hear it every 4 years when we get into politics and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
The union's this, the union's that. It's like, well, you know what? I work for a union and I have kids, and because I work for a union, I need those days when my kids are sick to stay home with them, and those little fringe benefits that the Walmart worker doesn't get.
Yeah, like healthcare.
Exactly, the little things that kind of make life a little bit easier on all of us.
Yes, thank you.
Hey, I agree. Back to your book. I didn't mean to jump to another topic. I saw that and I go, that's incredible. I'm a union worker. I got a little happy there. But where can we find your book? I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, okay. Okay, well, I was just going to say, you mentioned something about me being Human Relations Commissioner.
Yeah.
For Vanderburgh County, which is the county that Evansville sits in. I was just going to explain real quick. That's where the name EVP came from. He said Evansville, Vanderburgh Paranormal. Well, Evansville's the city, obviously, and Vanderburgh is the county. So we have Evansville, Vanderburgh School Corporation, Evansville, Vanderburgh's Police Department, Evansville, Vanderburgh, yada, yada, yada. So that's where the Evansville, Vanderburgh Paranormal came into play, and it just so happened it was a perfect acronym with the EVP.
It's perfect.
Phenomenon.
It's a perfect fit. I think it's great. When I saw that, I like that. That is catchy. That's just perfect. It's a perfect fit for that. And where can people get your book, Forever Ash?
Well, the easiest way probably for most people is going to be right now online at Amazon.com. You can Google my name, or Google, you can search my name or the book title on Amazon.com, and it will pop up. Locally in Evansville, it's at the Barnes & Noble, and I don't know where else it is at Barnes & Noble, but I did get a call from someone the other day that said that their niece called them. I know this was a long chain, but a friend said their niece called them and said, hey, did you know Rick's book is here at Barnes & Noble in San Antonio, Texas? And how it got there, I don't know, but for some reason it's on the bookshelf there. I don't know what other Barnes & Nobles are carrying it. But, anybody listening, feel free to go to your local Barnes & Noble and either request it, because they will order it for you if you request it, or just ask if they have it.
That's true. Barnes & Noble is very good.
Yeah, there's a chance that they could actually have it. Like I said, I have no idea how or why it got to the San Antonio Barnes & Noble, but, there was a chance it could be sporadic across the country, and eventually, it should be in all the Barnes & Noble stores, but at this point, it's not to that level yet.
Now, let me ask, any chance, and it's probably not to that level yet, but we never know, any chance of you doing like a national book tour anytime soon? Or?
I don't have anything planned for that yet, although it is possible with the release of the second book, which I heard you mention earlier. And the second book's actually finished, and it's been submitted to the publisher. I'm waiting to hear back from them. And
what's the name of that?
The second book is called Shadows of Eternity. I'm kind of going with a theme. It's called Shadows of Eternity, and then it's subtitled The Children of the Owls. And that's also based on a true story. In this case, I actually have permission and consent forms and everything where I can use the names and locations where this all took place. So there's a lot less that's not 100% true life. There's still some things. I mean, there's conversations and things that happened in both books that I don't remember what happened 4 years ago, word for word. So, I paraphrased a lot of it or put it in my own words. So, but for the most part, it's a fairly accurate story of both of them, really.
Now, without giving any too much detail, what are or who are the Children of the Owls? Is that like a clan or some sort? Or?
No, that's a very good question. I thought that title might grab people's attention because owls.
It grabbed mine when I saw it. I was like, "Ooh, that's intriguing."
Yeah. Well, the actual story behind it may not be quite as intriguing as the originally sounds, but there is a social club here, which it's actually probably nationwide, but it's called the Order of the Owls, and it's sort of like an Elks Club or a Moose Lodge or Order of the Eagles. And it's just a fraternal club where people pay for a membership to go to the social club. The one here was originally it was a home back in the 1800s and early 1900s, and the Order of the Owls, or as we call it here, the Owl's Nest, purchased the home in 1922, and then moved the social club into it in 1927. But the original family that lived there, the husband and wife lived there. They had 4 young children, all of them were boys, and all 4 of the children died in the home, unfortunately, and the oldest one was about 7 when he died, and the youngest was under 3. But they all happened within a very short time span. So this family tragically lost all 4 of their children within less than 2 years. Yeah. So they are the Children of the Owls. The place was incredibly active. Got some amazing evidence from that location, which I have a website that's under construction. Eventually, people can come to the website, and when they read the book, they can click on a link, which will take them to a book page. It'll have photographs and like audio recordings and things from those investigations.
Okay, and you let me know when that's up and running, and I'll advertise that on my Facebook pages and stuff. And
I definitely will.
Absolutely, that's what we do here. We help each other out.
Most definitely.
Now, one more quick question: the Children of the Owls. Did this happen in the same state as your other book, Forever Ash, or in a different state?
No, the Forever Ash, it started here locally, but the actual home where the haunting originated and where the investigations really took place was a couple of states away. The Shadows of Eternity, The Children of the Owls, book 2, actually took place right here in Evansville. We have a library that's kind of famous for being haunted, the Willard Library, home of the Great Lady Ghost. It's Taps did a show there, and at the time it was considered the most haunted library in the United States. In fact, they have a website where they have a Great Lady Ghost cam where you can go on and watch the camera and try to see the ghost, and people do that all the time, and there have been so many experiences there. But the Owl's Nest was just a block and a half up from there. They've since moved, but that's all explained out in the book. But
now, when is that book due for release?
Well, I'm waiting on the publisher. I don't know when it's coming out. I'm hoping it'll be out before the end of the year. I'd really love to see it out before Christmas, but I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of wishful thinking because that's not much time for the publisher to actually get it out.
Right, and then you only have, 4 or 5 more weeks in the year?
Yeah,
maybe 6?
About 5 weeks, yeah.
It's just flew by quick.
Oh, it's no kidding.
Especially with kids, it's like, and I know you have a son, and I actually have 2 daughters, and one is around the same age as your son. I saw your post about high school, and mine's already in high school, and it's a big step from middle school to high school, but it's all good. It's like this kind of like a maturity of your child. It's hard to explain. It's like my daughter is no longer my little girl.
Oh, I know. My son, I mean, in 8th grade, he's 5'10". You know,
oh my gosh!
Yeah, he's almost as tall as I am, and it's like, holy cow! You know, just in the last year or so, he's just shot up, and it's just incredible to see this young man where my little boy used to be.
I know. I feel you, Rick. I feel your pain there. It's like, oh my gosh, they're growing so fast.
I know.
Well, I actually asked your publicist if I could bring this up, and she said, yes, you can, because, you know, it was the do's and don'ts and the questions I can and cannot ask.
Okay. All right.
And so I hear there's a film festival coming up for you, and she said I could ask that question without giving too much detail.
Yeah, there is. I'm working in partnership with several other wonderful people, putting together the first annual film festival. It's the Alhambra Theater Film Festival here in Evansville. And the Alhambra was an old theater downtown that has gone defunct and was really almost in ruin. And I actually had the pleasure of working on it, the construction part of it. Back, maybe 5 years ago, we started on it. And just last year, they finished up the outside, completely restoring the outside of this theater. And the inside, it still has quite a bit of work to do. So the film festival is to help raise money for this restoration of this old theater. And it's going to be a 4-day film festival in April. So for anybody listening who's on Facebook, you can come to my page, or you can search the Alhambra, ALHAMBRA Theater Film Festival, and you get all the details there. There's actually, for any filmmakers who might be listening, they're accepting submissions from December 1st all the way through March 1st. And it'll be a 4-day film festival. It's going to take place at 4 different locations in downtown Evansville. With I can't mention any names yet, but we have some great people lined up to speak and for the awards banquet and things. It'll be phenomenal whenever we get to release those names.
Awesome. And you're in the film industry as well, that's my understanding. Aren't you?
Yes. I'm working as, I actually have done a little bit of acting, but I play myself. But
that's easy to do, huh?
Well, it's tougher than you'd think.
Okay.
But that's a long story. But I write and produce for some independent for an independent film company. And that's actually a short that will be at the Alhambra Film Festival. And hopefully, after the first of the year, I can release some big news film-wise. But right now, unfortunately, my hands are tied. I can't say anything right now.
I have a couple of questions coming in through the chat room, if you don't mind.
Okay. No, go right ahead.
Chris is asking, he says, I understand that many strange occurrences surrounding this book. Can you please share these with us?
Oh, certainly. One of the first things that happened paranormally was whenever my second meeting with the lady, we call her the doc. There I do in the book, and if you read the book, you'll understand why. But in my second meeting with the doc, I actually went to her house, and because she was going to, we met in public at first at a coffee shop, just to have an interview to see what we could do to help her, and she said something about this place being, located a couple of states away. I'm like, well, before we can commit to going that far to investigate a location, we need a little more detail. So she would come by my house, and I'll talk more in depth when we're not around other people. And I said, okay. So I went there, and she was trying to explain these experiences that she'd been having. I was having a really hard time buying into it, and she put her hand out and she said, take my hand if you really want to know. And I thought, okay, this is a bit hokey, but okay. So, I took her by the hand, and this nice old woman took her by the hand, and I swear, no sooner did I touch her hand, and it really felt like a very intense burning sensation shooting up my arm.
Oh, wow.
And, it was, if I weren't able to see, I would have thought my arm was on fire. But obviously I could see that it wasn't, but that's what it felt like. It was that intense. And as soon as our grasp was broken, the feeling went away. And it was at that point that I decided, okay, this is as legitimate as it gets. And I knew that she needed help.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, there's a lot to the story. This spirit actually, this child, she didn't just haunt a location. She haunted people. She actually visited most of my team at some point or another in their own homes. I remember waking up in the middle of a thunderstorm, and there was like just a really loud crash of thunder that woke me up. And I was disoriented, middle of the night, and it was dark, of course. And I just kind of, in my, trying to wake up a little bit, I spotted something out of place in my room, and in the corner of the room by the window, there was something there that didn't belong. And I tried to focus, and it looked like this little girl was standing there. And I kept thinking my eyes were playing tricks on me or something, and before I could really move or turn a light on or anything, the lightning flashed. And when it did, I saw this little girl standing there, this little blonde-headed girl in a white dress. And as soon as it happened, I saw her. She went from being this little blonde-headed girl in a white dress to being this charred piece of,
oh my God.
and
this was in own eyes?
Yes, and it was just within a split second. It was just like a flash. She was there, she was burned, she was gone. And I literally jumped out of my bed, fell, I had the sheet wrapped around me, I fell out of my bed, and I jumped up and, was trying to get to the light and turn the light on, and I just stood there. Once I got the light on, I just stood there and stared in the corner like, did I really see that? What? And the corner was just empty. There's no, it's not like there was a plant there or something that I could have mistaken it for. It's just an empty corner. And, eventually, and I don't know how long I stood there. It seemed like forever. But eventually I got back into bed and decided I would try to sleep. But kind of became this. And the other side note was, I didn't actually fall back asleep, but that night I refused to turn my light off. I did not want to turn my light off. And I ended up laying there for a couple of hours awake, and then I ended up going and making a pot of coffee about 4 o'clock in the morning and just staying up from that point. But, there were things like that actually occurred that are detailed in the book, and that just kind of touches on some of the experiences that I had.
Wow. Well, that would be embedded in my mind for the rest of my life. I think that's something you never forget.
No, it's not. The experiences I had in this book, they stayed with me. Actually, right after this case was over, within a few months after the case was over, I started to write the book. And I got about 50 pages into it, and suddenly my laptop just fried. It just went completely dead. Nothing was salvageable. I lost everything, not only the book, but everything else that was on my laptop. And something just told me, well, it's not the right time, And,
Now, Rick, can I ask you a question? Is the filming that you're doing connected to this book, Forever Ash? Is there a connection here with this?
The short film that we're working on is about my team.
Okay.
But it's not, there may be some disconnections to the book.
Okay.
And I don't want to go a whole lot farther than that right now.
Right. I agree. I'm reading off the feed here of what people are asking me. So I'm asking you the questions that the people want to know.
I would love to be able to answer them with the answers that I know, but at this point, I just can't. Unfortunately, it's killing me, but I can't.
That's okay. You know what? I've looked at your stars, and I know what's coming for you, and it's fabulous. But before we get into that, I do want to ask. Now, it's my understanding that you're heading on a cruise in 2015, and you're a guest speaker.
Yes, we have a cruise planned. I don't remember exactly what the title is. Of it is like a seminar at sea or something to that effect, but it's a spiritual cruise, and I've got so much going on right now. I'm trying to remember the details.
It's okay.
I'm trying to remember the dates. I think it is in September of next year. But it's Royal Caribbean is the cruise line.
Okay.
The plan at this point, I think, is a 7-day cruise with a couple of ports of call, including the Yucatan Peninsula.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and I think we're going to go to like a Mayan ruin, maybe try to
my gosh.
some connections there, paranormally and spiritually.
I've been to some of the Mayan ruins, and there is something very magical and mystical there. It's intense.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a fantastic event. We've got a travel agent that's got some pretty good rates. I think it's around between $800 and $900 for a 7-day cruise, which is a pretty good rate, and that includes like port taxes and things like that. And then they also have airfare deals if you want to add airfare in. They've got some really good airline rates as well.
Awesome. And now, where does the port leave from? Do you know? Is it Florida or Texas?
It's leaving from Florida, from Port Canaveral, or not Port Canaveral, from Fort Lauderdale.
Okay. Florida.
Yeah. Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
And you'll have that all up on your website, probably, that information eventually in time.
Yeah. Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, right now, I know it's on Facebook right now, but honestly, I wouldn't be able to tell anybody how to find it other than just searching my page. But I know it's there somewhere.
Awesome.
But yes, eventually it'll be very well publicized.
Okay. And there'll be other guest speakers besides yourself, of course.
Yes. Well,
it's probably a metaphysical.
Yes, there'll be at least one or two psychic mediums, and they'll be doing seminars and probably classes as well for those people who want to learn how to get more in tune with that sort of thing. There may be, we've discussed possibly being a film premiere there. But that at this point we're not sure of. There's a couple of possibilities that we might be able to premiere on the ship, but we're not sure yet. But I'm sure the agenda, will be pretty full. At least if someone wants to take advantage of all of it. And if not, it's a wonderful cruise ship. If you just want to come and join us and come to one or two seminars and spend the rest of the week just enjoying the cruise ship, it's going to be a fabulous time.
Well, it sounds fabulous, and that part of the world is, I have to say, folks, I've been there. It's very magical. It's very mystical. I have a permanent souvenir from Central America, and I named her Maya because of the Mayan ruins. Just to remind me of my adventure.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yes,
and, September, things are starting to cool down. Autumn's on its way, or, it's just a nice way to warm weather again for a week.
Not too hot, not too cold. That's a good time of year to go. I actually went to Belize and Yucatan Peninsula in September, and it was actually a really nice time of year to go. The weather's not too hot, not too cold. A beautiful, balmy 80 degrees.
Right. Yeah, warm enough to swim, but not so hot.
Oh, yeah.
For the air conditioning.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, Rick, I wanted to, I don't have too many more questions, but I did look into your stars, and you are born September 29th, and that makes you a Libra. And you're very much a Libra. Libras are balance, harmony, and love, and they rule the scales. I had a grandfather who was a Libra and never liked to see anybody fight. He was always the diplomat in the house and the guy who calmed the arguments down and a voice of reason in the household. But you're also born in September, which, even though you're born in the sun sign of Libra, you're born in the constellation of Virgo, and you have a lot of Virgo in your chart, and that's where a lot of your writing abilities and being very gifted with writing comes from is the Virgo, making up your first house, which is Virgo is ruled by Mercury, which is communication, writing, publishing. So it's no wonder you're a writer. Makes perfect sense to me. When I saw this, I'm like,
Yeah.
But you do have the planet Jupiter right there in your first house, too, which means any book you write, Rick, is going to be a success. You're blessed by your stars to do writing and be very, very successful at it, as we can well see from your first book. I can only imagine how wonderful your second book is going to be. Does any of this seem like, I agree, or no, that's really not me?
No, actually, it sounds spot on. I mean, as far as being successful in writing, I mean, I'm a kind of a humble person, so the successes that I have are whenever I see the reviews that people are really enjoying the book, and when I get questioned, when's the next book coming out because I want to read it, to me that's success. It has nothing to do with dollars and cents.
Absolutely.
So in that respect, I feel like I'm very successful. And I have been asked to write, I've just recently written an article for Paranormal magazine, and I've been asked to write a chapter for a book that's like a compilation of short stories. So I suppose that would also coincide with being successful because, people don't ask someone to write pieces for them, I guess, if they are not a successful writer.
Well, when I was looking at your stars, I said to myself, I've got to search deeper than what the software is giving me, because I always find that people who are paranormal investigators, there's some sort of a Scorpio going on in their chart, and sure enough, I did find, and this makes perfect sense once again, it's probably gibberish to you, but to me it makes sense. I always talk about a dragon, and every human being has a 13th sign. Well, they also have a hidden one, and yours happens to be in Scorpio, right in that third house of communication, writing, information, paranormal investigator. When I saw that, I'm like, that explains the investigator part of him, the intrigue, the research. Makes perfect sense.
Okay.
Let's see now. Like I said, you have the Jupiter and Virgo, so this produces people that are somewhat into the environment for, cleaner water, healthier food. Let's see, they're great organizers. I'm sure you're a fairly organized person.
I try to be. I have so much going on. Sometimes it's hard to stay on top of everything, but I will admit, and any one of my teammates will tell you, I say a touch of OCD.
I was going to come out and say that, but I can't say that to someone.
but according to my team, it's more than a touch. But I'm particular about some things. Yes, about organization of certain things, especially.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. I think every human being has a certain touch of OCD. I'm the same way with certain things. I have a lot of Virgo in my chart, so it's understandable. There's just certain things. I mean, I live in, I have kids, so there's clutter. There's always a toy to pick up or some tripping over some teenager's shoes in the backpack. But I'm always trying to keep things in order. It doesn't always work out that way because I'm so busy. You understand that. But
yes.
Let's see here. I just wanted to go through this. I have to ask you this because when I see a placement of a moon located in the 5th house, which you have, and it's actually in the sign of Capricorn, I sense that there may be like musical ability or some sort of artistic talent, maybe from your past. A lot of people say, I've played the violin for 20 years, or, anything like that?
I could, back in my 20s, I did teach myself how to play the guitar and still play sometimes. And I actually paint.
Okay, that's artistic.
Yeah. I enjoy painting. Everything from scenic paintings to abstract art.
It's very therapeutic, isn't it, to paint?
It definitely is, yes. Yeah.
I don't paint like canvases, but I buy those like little statues that you can paint, and I'll go to like a craft store, and I just sometimes when I'm stressed out, I'll just paint the little statues, and then everyone gets one for Christmas because I've needed to entertain myself. It's like a stress release.
And even though you're painting, a statue, it's still an expression because you're painting it the way you want to. It's still artistic. So.
Absolutely.
And then not to. I don't know. I almost hate to even say this, but back in my 20s, I actually used to write poetry, and I've actually thought about releasing a book because I've got a file full of poems. Probably, I don't know. I probably could put a 100-page book out of my own poetry. So I thought about doing that, just as a side note, just to put it out there.
Well, I think it could be achieved with your stars and everything. I was just getting ready to say when you said that about the poetry. From now until, in August of 2015 to February of 2017, this energy that's going to be with you is going to be right on you, and you're going to have that planet Jupiter, which is the Lord of Luck, right in your 1st house. This actually pertains to all people born in September. Whether they're Libra or Virgo, there's this phenomenal energy coming that is going to really bless them. And I see that with you. This planet's going to move from Leo to Virgo on August 11th, and it's going to make you even more lucky and make you more prosperous in your endeavors. I see great things for you, Rick. When I saw that, I was like, wow, cool.
Yeah. And it's something that once again, I can't go into detail about, but actually that timeline lines up perfectly with some projects that should be wrapping up right around then, which could potentially be really life-changing for me. So to hear that is fantastic news. I hope it's as accurate as I'd like to believe it is.
Well, only time will tell. Yeah. Now, I don't usually bring negative. The only negative I see is that this energy also affects your 7th house, which are contracts and partnerships. It also rules marriage. But I always tell my clients and my friends when I'm giving a little bit of negative news, I just say, you know what? Negative attracts negative, so if you remain positive and try and stay positive things will happen. But I always tell people, and you can ask the owners of the network I'm with, never sign a contract, after a full moon, always wait till the new moon. The stars will bless you for it better. I've done this for many years, and when I don't take my own advice is when I can kick myself. Why don't I listen to my own advice?
Right. I'll have to keep that in mind. I'll make a mental note of that.
And for compatibility, you know, I had a lot of, I wasn't going to bring this up, but my inbox was flooded the other day. Well, first it was 4, and then this morning it was 4 more. I'm going, all right, ladies, I'm interviewing him for his beauty of writing books and his talent in that. This is not a dating service, ladies. But on that note, I was going to say that you're most compatible with, and you're one of the lucky ones, because I always say that those souls that are born on the cusp, meaning, you know, even though you're a true Libra, but you're born in September, it pertains to all signs. When you cuspy souls, as I call them, you have a little more advantage on choosing mates and lovers, because, and even friends, because you're more compatible with a variety of different signs, not just 2, 3, or 4, which is nice. With yours, you're compatible, very compatible with Aries and Aquarius, Capricorn, Taurus, and Pisces. You would do very well with. So we'll leave it at that, and, you know, you can always private message me and ask me any questions that
I'd like to do that.
Yes, and you know, I always offer my guests a free reading. So if you'd like a free reading, I'll email you the chart off, and you can read it, and then you can
that'd be great.
pick my brain about it, so to speak.
Yeah, I'll contact you and give you an email address where you can do that.
Absolutely.
That's fantastic.
Well, we're coming down to the wire here, a couple more minutes, and we're about done. And Rick, it was such an honor to have you on. I'm actually friends with your, I guess she's your publicist, and she has said nothing but wonderful things about you. And
that's good, because I would hate to think my publicist was saying negative things about me.
That would be bad, wouldn't it? Yes, indeed. No, she's been wonderful, and she's told me all these great things about your book and stuff, and the second one coming. And one more time, want to throw out the name of the book and where we can get it?
Certainly. Book 1 is Forever Ash. That's the easiest searchable title right there on Amazon.com. And as I said before, please feel free to go to your local Barnes & Noble. I know some of them are carrying it, and if they're not, you can request it there. And it will save you shipping that you might have through Amazon.com if you get it through Barnes & Noble.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Website in the making.
Yes, it is EvansvilleParanormal.org. Right now there's just a page up that says under construction. But eventually it'll be a full working website.
Okay.
Book 2 will be called Shadows of Eternity, and it should be out by the end of the year or early 2015. And that one should be available nationwide.
Okay.
So my third book is already in the planning stages. This is a trilogy. And actually the location we're still working on, and I'm actually going there tomorrow, and that's over in Ohio. So,
you are a busy man.
Oh my gosh, we are.
Oh my gosh, you are busy, my friend. It's good to be busy, but take some time for yourself, Rick. Take some time to smell the flowers.
Most definitely, and you know, after this weekend and making that trip, next week is Thanksgiving. I've got 4 days off, and I'm actually going to take 4 days off and do nothing. And I'm not going to plan a whole lot between Thanksgiving and Christmas all the way till the end of the year. I'm really not going to do a whole lot of anything. I mean, other than my full-time job as a union rep, and whatever I have to do as a commissioner. But I mean, as far as writing, I'm going to take some time off, and I may do a radio show here and there or something to that effect. But yeah, I'm definitely going to take some time during the holidays and just enjoy family and friends.
That's what it's all about, taking time to enjoy our family and friends and being thankful for what we have.
Amen.
Absolutely. Amen to that. Now, Rick, I hope you join me again, especially when that second book comes out. You have been a real pleasure to interview this evening. You've been a great guest. Awesome.
Well, thank you. I would love to come back on your show, and honestly, the hour flew by. I can't believe it's already
I know. Everyone keeps telling me, why don't you go to a second hour? I don't know if I'm ready for that yet. I guess 1 hour does fly by very, very quickly, but maybe in the future I shall go to a second hour. But, Rick, you've been an awesome guest, everybody. Rick Keever, buy the book, Forever Ash, Amazon, Can't Miss It, Barnes & Noble.
That's a great Christmas gift.
Absolutely. It would make a great Christmas present. Hint, hint, family listening. Hint, hint. Thank you so much, Rick, for joining us this evening. It's been awesome. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and you and your family, everyone stay safe, be happy and healthy.
Thank you, and you do as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me this evening here on Alpha Star Radio. I always say I am the warm-up act. Get ready for the Paranormal Lounge, because I hear someone is getting ready to sing on air to Wham. I will leave you with that. Happy Thanksgiving. I'll return the first Friday in December. We are off next week for Thanksgiving. Light and love to all. Good night.